moments will be lost in time. Like tears in
There's magic and wonders and mysteries in store. A hero whose mission is to learn and explore. He's daring and caring and oh so much more. It's Brigsby Bear. He travels the skies and the stars through the night. He battles Sun Snatcher with all of his might. He's strong, never wrong, 'cause he always does right. It's Brigsby Bear. And even when trouble is just around the bend, he'll keep us so safe, 'cause he's
5,
always our
6,
friend.
7, 8.
9.
10. Perfect.
Good. See, we didn't have a whole agenda there. We just did it, and by the third or fourth iteration, we were on a good time, a good rhythm.
Yeah, that's fine. But the last time you started it, you did it like you surprised us. Like it was. At least we had previously talked about doing the countdown or count up.
1.
We already did it.
Just trying to surprise you guys.
Now I'm gonna fuck
Watch
up
out.
and put that one before the rest of it.
Insha,
And just splice it in.
I have a question for you.
Yep.
Who would win in a fight, Wendy or the Burger King?
Ooh. Shit. That's hard.
Is it?
I don't think it is, but okay.
Is Wendy not a little girl? Am I mistaken?
And also,
don't-
the Burger King has that huge head and those dead eyes. Like
I
he's
would-
a.
See,
Does he
now,
have a scepter, too?
now I just want to say Wendy because you guys doubt her so much.
Unless she's got like the powers of like an evil girl from a horror movie, like the Ring Girl or the
Yeah.
Bad Seed. Maybe
Yeah.
she's got those. Except it's Wendy. It's not Wednesday Addams. We know she doesn't have creepy magic powers.
But
Here's the thing: you
She
don't
might.
know.
yeah,
I guess.
There's
I'm
not
gonna
much
go with
Wendy
Wendy.
lore. Is there? No, I'm doubting myself.
I really don't think they are, because they really don't use her as a mascot.
No, they used
Yeah,
Dave Thomas
so-
for like
Exactly.
forever, right?
Yeah. Now Grimace. We put the king up against Grimace. Now there's a showdown. Just a big kaiju battle. Just a Burger King and Grimace.
Kame.
Welcome to Film Runners. It was dead silent as I was taking a sip of my drink. The podcast where one of us chooses a film at least one of the others hasn't seen. We watch it. We talk about it. My name is Michael, and I'm here with Insha.
hi, hello.
And Tim as well, also, too.
Hello. And this
Stuff.
episode of Film Runners is sponsored by Inamory.com. Fine art, photography, and wall art from a creative couple, Aaron Samby and Ashley King. They're creative. You better believe it.
Wow.
You better believe it.
He must have liked what he saw when last time he scrolled through. He's like, this is pretty fucking creative, guys. This is some creative shit.
Look at these pictures they take of things.
Well, now it sounds like you're being sarcastic.
Take a look at Smoke Break, which is a picture of a skyscraper that looks pretty cool. Black and white.
Oh,
Selling it.
Would look
selling
at
it.
hard sell.
Selling
Such a
it.
hard sell there.
Look great on your wall.
Perfect. ENAMORY.com. Yeah, right. Oh, use code RUNNER10 at checkout. Did you say that?
If I didn't, use code runner check it.
Use code RUNNER checkout at 10. If you use it at any other time of the day, you will be arrested.
All right, Michael. This week, classic Michael pick.
Yes, it was my turn to choose, and so I did, with no hesitation either. I just pulled the trigger. It's a 2017 film called Brigsby Bear. It was kind of flew under the radar for me. I know it played at Sundance, but I didn't really hear much about it. And then I can't remember. I think I saw somebody mention it or had it in their top 10 of that year was Brigsby Bear. So I was like, oh, I should check it out. And I did. And I remember liking it, but since then, I wasn't sure how much I did or if I still did. So I was excited to rewatch it as well.
Right. And spoiler alert, did you still like it?
Yes, I did. I think I maybe even liked it more because I couldn't remember how much I liked it last time, but this time I was like, no, yeah, I really like it. But so the basic concept is this man is young man. Well, I don't know what he's 32 or something. Like he's 30.
I think they say 25.
I was thinking 25.
Kidnapped.
No, I was thinking 25 too.
Yeah, they said 25.
Yeah, but he was kidnapped as like a toddler, right? Like not a baby, was he?
No, I think
No, they said baby.
Oh, was he? Okay, well then he's 25. Yeah, because they did say 25 years, but for some reason I thought he was kidnapped when he was a couple years old or something. You know, so that's that's the only big twist is that it starts out he's like living in this weird bunker with his quote unquote parents, and he's obsessed with this TV show called Brigsby Bear that has 700 and some odd episodes. And there's also, they're very weird, and it seems as if it's like, oh, some shit's going on outside because he can't go out without a gas mask. But then, one night, police show up, and he's taken away and returned to his real family, who he was kidnapped from. And it's the awkward adjustment of him finding out his entire life is a lie, and then also trying to get to know people, and his only real frame of reference are his Brigsby Bear episodes. Now, it was new for both of you, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, I want to hear. Oh, I don't know. Fight amongst yourselves. Who wants to go first?
Tim, do you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I have. Oh, right. That reminded me. I will say what I thought about it before I saw it. I've never heard of this movie before. I quickly looked at the poster when you talked about it last week, and I saw like a big old moon face over top of a bear, and I think I saw one more picture, and I thought this was gonna be like a psychedelic movie, like the show Wilfred, where like he's not even like he's imagining Brigsby Bear as a character that he runs around with or something along those lines. I don't, or like he's high all the time and imagines Brigsby Bear.
I get it, as if he was making it up or envisioning it, and it's like. His character's obviously stunted emotionally and whatnot, but he's not psychotic. He isn't like envisioning anything really, except one little second at the end. But that's not really a break or anything.
Yeah.
It's just a nice little moment. But.
Yeah, but So when I watched it and got what we got, I really enjoyed this as well. I think this is one of the type of movies that I like the indie style movie, how it's shot and the quirkiness of it. It's really funny too, which I really liked, and I also liked how besides that first real reveal, there wasn't a huge what do I want to say, conflict, let's say, in the movie where like his friends turned on him and it turned out to be like the Freddie Prinze Jr. where they're only hanging out with him to cause on a bet or something like that. Like it was just sweet the whole time, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah, I want to remember to bring that up later because I want to mention that because that's a part I really like in it too. When it would normally turn me off if somebody was like, oh, there's no conflict in this and everyone's just nice to each other. It's like, oh, cool, that sounds terrible. I don't want to see that. But you're right, it kind of is that, or at least nothing's like pitched too hard to the like melodramatic, right?
Right.
To like find any amount of conflict in this situation. Like everyone's fairly reasonable and their emotions, even when there is some conflict, are extremely understandable.
Right. And sometimes movies will put those in there just to have some sort of like tension between two characters in it where the overall story doesn't really need that. I think we may have talked about something similar in Something Wild, where like the first half it was them like being fun and doing about it, and then they brought in that conflict where what's his name was lying to her, and that was the only reason conflict in the movie, right? Yeah, it was kind of contrived. Yeah.
Right,
sorry.
Before we go off on it more,
yeah, that's what I was going to say.
We should get Insha's opinion on that. So, what did you first, like Tim said, did you know about the movie or know anything about it prior to watching it?
I knew about the movie. I remember hearing the title and I was just like, oh, that's weird. But then I mistake this movie for Frank, which is that other movie with Michael Fassbender.
Yeah.
But looking at this now after like knowing about it, I was just like, oh, this is very sweet. Like, it reminds me of those indie movies that I really like. How to, like Tim said, like, it was just very, very sweet. And I liked how there's one thing about this movie that I really loved, and I loved how they treated him. Sorta, kind of, I'll get into it. But when you actually do understand where he's coming from, and like they accept him for him, I almost cried at like one part of the movie where Spencer's involved, and it made me feel so proud of him too. Like, that was the thing. All the adults are, well, not the actual parents, but like his before parents, or his criminal parents, his kidnappers, are so proud of him because of I don't know what. But then when his actual parents are like proud of him, like they learn about him and are proud of him, I'm like, ow. But all the adults just seem to be very proud of him once they get to know him, which I thought was really, really interesting to see. It was wild.
Even there are kind of like two quote-unquote antagonists other than the child kidnappers, but the psychiatrist and Claire Danes, who Claire Danes played, but so she was much. Yeah, it's annoying, but we also don't really get many scenes with her, so it's like you understand that she's, I don't know, she's kind of a nothing character, so it doesn't really feel like a big conflict. And then I always was on the verge of thinking Greg Kinnear's partner was going to be extra, like he was going to do something else to be more vindictive, or to be like, no, screw this kid, let's lock him up and throw away the keys and free. But he was pretty reasonable too. He was just like even watch some of the episodes of Brigsby Bear to try to understand it and shit. Like, it's interesting, and I agree with you that like all the this time I'm like, I can't remember the last time, but there were a couple moments I was close to tearing up in it, and I think part of that is that. And part of the reason why I like how nice it is that it's about an extremely fucked up situation. And there is just an undercurrent of sadness through a lot of it. So people being sweet and understanding hits a lot harder when you contrast it to that element of the plot.
Yeah. Like, Spencer knowing who he was, like at the party, Spencer knowing who he was kind of like not from jump, but then understanding him and resonating with him and understanding his passion for Brigsby Bear when like they're talking about it, or when he's talking about it. I'm like, that's a really sweet moment, just to know that like there's somebody right there that's like that wants to help you out and wants to like be your friend because you're so passionate about this thing. And I'm like, oh, I love Spencer as a character.
Yeah, Spencer is just really a nice, cool guy. He's very cool.
Well, there's a whole thing about this, about like inclusiveness within this movie as like a big theme, where like, I don't know, like nobody makes fun of him for liking this TV show, where it's an easy jab, I guess, right? Like if you had a bully character in this movie, you could think of 100 things to make fun of this for, but they don't have that character, and everybody's just. They don't know what it is, but they understand, and all they know is that he's really passionate about it, and let him be him and let him do what he likes to do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be much worse if they had a character like that. In that's sort of what I was getting at with Greg Kinnear's partner, where like obviously he doesn't really get Brigsby Bear, but he's not like a total asshole to him about it, you know?
No, and he was...
I think
there was a part...
He could easily have been a character like in a worse written movie where he's like, you gotta get over this and like destroy some of the shit or something, or gets really mean about it, but he doesn't. Like nobody does it. I like that.
Well, yeah, I think there was another part where he was going to you would expect him to even talk to Greg Kinnear and say like, oh, you shouldn't be like in the movie, or what are you doing like going into acting or whatever, and he takes the time to actually watch multiple episodes of this show that his partner's in, right? Like
speaking of, I fucking love Greg Kinnear in this movie. He's so good. He's so funny.
Oh yeah, he's great. Like his overall, like he's just super nice guy, and like I think he sees James's passion and wants to express his own passion for theater, right? Like
yeah, and I think he's maybe the first one, other than maybe the kids, but I think the kids just think it's cool at first. But I think Greg Kinnear's character does think he's helping because he's like, it's like James needs some catharsis, like he needs to kind of get it out of his system, right? Instead of just ignoring Brigsby, who was like a major part of his life, his entire life, and just be like, no, forget it, don't talk about it, you can't do anything about it.
And I will say that that's one of my favorite scenes of the movie is when Greg Kinnear brings over all the stuff to
with the dad, the conversation.
Yeah, between Greg Kinnear and Matt Walsh, because like I agreed with both of them. Like, you know, it's one thing that I think James, this is all he ever knew, this is all he ever liked to say, oh, now you have to cut it off, is cutting off 25 years of his existence, right? So I get what he's saying, but at the same time, like from Matt Walsh's character, like, is this not just continuing the delusion of
continuing the abuse? Yeah,
exactly,
absolutely, right. Yeah, but it's I think it's once everybody starts understanding each other more, or understanding James more, like you said, instead of cutting out a huge part of his life that means a lot to him and taught him good stuff like math and the power of friendship and only touching yourself twice a day at most, stuff like that, that it is a huge part. So you do have to kind of meet him halfway on that and understand where he's coming from. And then he'll open up more to you if you take an interest. It'd be like if, I don't know, somebody was like, you can't talk about literally anything you've ever talked about before. You could only talk about new stuff.
I will say on that, something you brought up made me think of something while I was thinking about the movie, is that like imagining Mark Hamill making videos throughout James's growing up and teaching lessons of that time. Like maybe that episode of Brigsby Bear where you should only touch yourself twice a day was around like was in his preteen 13-year-old, was what he made that when James was like 13 or whatever year old. But some of the other lessons would have been when he was way younger. It was I don't know, if you were to watch the entire 700 episodes of Brigsby Bear, it'd be a fun progression, right?
Absolutely, yeah, I think for sure. It's also very funny when you find out he was having a relationship online with Brigsby Girl 1 or whatever.
I wrote down that line specifically where James is sitting there. He's like, what do you mean? None of those people were real? Not Brigsby Boy 1, Brigsby Boy 2. You can Brigsby Girl.
So funny.
So good. You can cut that in here.
No, I think I'll cut it in here.
Did they figure out who's going to take over doing it?
No one's taking over doing it. You're the only person who's ever seen this show.
But I have friends on the Brigsby Bear fan forum that watched it on my computer.
Well, the computer at your old home was run on a closed network, so any content there we can assume was created by Ted and April.
So Brigsby Boy 1, Brigsby Boy 2, Brigsby Boy 3. They weren't real.
I'm sorry, James, no.
What about Brigsby Girl?
Yeah, that's weird. Because doesn't he say that he had like relations online with?
Yeah, because she asked if he's ever been with a girl, and he was like, "Oh yeah, online or something." And it's like, yeah, that means it was with Mark Hamill or his fake mom. Yeah, there are a lot of really funny lines in this. Like, it's a good script, and we should talk about Aubrey too, because I think she's an interesting character, where they didn't stretch out the sibling meeting another sibling who's weird that they didn't expect existed and getting mad at it. Like, you get a couple scenes like that, and then she actually hangs out with him and enjoys his company, and it settles down pretty quickly without a big dramatic scene, other than the earlier, like, don't embarrass me, stop embarrassing me in front of my friends, and tell mom to get you your own phone.
I don't know. To me, it would sound like the beginning was more like she got, like, I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like her brother came back from college or something for the summer, not there's this new brother that she's never known before, and like she seems so disinterested at the beginning.
Well, because I get that though, that makes more sense to me, because he's a total stranger.
Yeah.
Like, he's just this total stranger who acts really weird, and she's just because he has to like live in her house, and she now has to consider a fucking brother she never knew she had, or assumed was dead, probably, right? Then it's much I can see why it would be harder for her to embrace him than it would for people like Spencer or the other friends who, you know, it's just a lot more emotions for her to have to deal with.
Also,
and I think oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just think they didn't stretch it out so much that it got annoying to me. I think, like, I understood it, and they hit it a couple times, and then when they go out camping and shit, they're really adorable together. And she realizes, like, oh no, he's actually fun. Like, he's cool. Insha, you were going to say something? Or Tim, do you have a...
No, okay.
A rebuttal?
No, just if you wanted to clarify anything.
No, yeah, so what I was... I get what you're saying when you say that she doesn't know and is like a stranger, but I don't know. I was trying to put myself in her shoes, and I'd probably be wanting to talk to this person and figure out all the weird stuff, right? Like,
I'm also kind of consider the fact that like how Michael said, like she doesn't know him at all, and like the parents probably stretched out the crying game about him for longer than needed, and it's probably been half of her childhood. So she's kind of like, now that she sees him, she's just like, oh, fucking great, now we have to deal with this asshole on top of you crying for 25 years or 16 years, however old this girl is, because I don't know. And then like now it's gonna be an even bigger issue because he's weird now. Like it's not a great situation for her. But I do get what you mean, Tim, because like at first it kind of seems like, oh, maybe you should get to know him instead of being apathetic. But at the same time, I feel like the parents have a lot to do with that and the way that they probably handled the situation beforehand. But
absolutely,
yeah.
right.
I would say, I mean, sure, you can be like, oh, if I put myself in her shoes, I would have been extremely reasonable and sat down and learned this fella and understood him. But it's like, teenagers are notoriously stupid and emotional, so it makes total sense. And even the parents took a long ass time, as much as they put on like a good face and tried to spend time with him. They didn't try to get to know him, so they were exasperated by him eventually too. So I don't know.
So I think
humans, right?
Yeah,
so
but
it's understandable to me.
Yeah, but that would be understandable. What you said is that if she was more like annoyed and emotional about it, she seemed more just aloof. Like, I don't know, like she just didn't care. Not aloof, but more like just like, this is more of a inconvenience than frustration or emotion. Like a frustration or like anger or any of those feelings.
Maybe, but I feel like I'm glad they didn't have it be so over the top. Not that you're right. You wanted it over the top, but I'm glad they didn't do that, because I probably would have stopped liking Aubrey, because like you said, the more reasonable thing is fucking get to know James. So if it was too much of like anger and frustration and resentment, I'd be like, no, fuck you, Aubrey. But I just kind of like understood her, and was like, I hope this doesn't go through most of the movie. And then it's like halfway through, she does start getting to know him and like spending time with him.
We kind of talked about this earlier, but like again, when she takes him to the party, I think it's funny that there isn't anything where they make him a laughing stock. Like that's the first kind of interaction that he has with people, like not his age, but close enough. But
yeah, emotionally maybe closer to his age than other. But yeah, they easily could have had like a drunk douchebag character in there and making fun of him, but everyone was literally just enjoying like learning about this fucking weird thing from this quirky dude.
Right. And what was up with the ecstasy guy? So there's a guy in their friend group who gives him ecstasy at the party. Does he have any other lines after that? He just kind of in the background as their third friend.
No, but he plays the guy with the red bucket on his head in the movie, so that's cool. Wyatt? Was his name Wyatt?
I could not tell you. I have no idea. He gave him ecstasy. He was out filming, but he didn't have any... He has no storyline.
He has a couple... Well, no, I didn't want him to have a storyline. He has a couple lines at the party, and then when he's like, can I be in your movie? And James is like, I don't know, we'll see. You guys all can, but I don't know about him yet. Like, really starting to go back and forth with him. I liked it. Oh, yeah, I was going to mention when we were talking about Aubrey, I really like the line when she gets a phone call from him, or for him, on her cell phone, and she's like, what is wrong? Because he has the Brigsby Bear head on in his room, and it freaks her out. She's like, what's wrong with you? And he's like, well, I was abducted, so I feel like that has something to do with it.
This movie has a ton of really, really good one-liners. They're all over the place, and they're all like, it makes the movie very funny, but with like a sad and sweet overtone all at the same time. Like I don't know. There's lots of times where I felt happy because of the good stuff that we were talking about, and like there's a lot of sad, just emotional moments. Like even like there's one with Matt Walsh where they're playing basketball, and he just tells them like, "No, I'm gonna go play my movie. I don't want to hang out with you." You know, as I could see how sad Matt Walsh is in that. But then
I think Kyle Mooney's like perfectly. I mean, he co-wrote it, so it makes sense. But perfectly cast as this character with his like the awkward style he does in stuff. It works so well here because it is very sad, but also just hilarious sometimes. Like some of the line deliveries are just amazing, but also just the general kind of not patheticness, but he's almost like a lost kid, which I mean he literally is. But that kind of awkward, like really awkwardness of it all works.
I will have to say though, there's a lot of times I did not like his parents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I don't know. Just let him make the damn movie. Like I don't know.
Here,
yeah, I don't know.
They didn't understand him at first. I mean, it's a weird adjustment for everybody, and I think that's one of the reasons why I actually liked his parents, because as much as they were trying to get him to see their way of life, he needed them to see his way of life. Like, they needed to work together, and I like that they got on the same page. Like, even though sent him to a fucking mental institution, but
that was the big part to me that I was like, that's absolutely fucking insane that they would ever do that. But everything else I could see, even when I disagreed with them, I could see why they would think that and why they wouldn't want it. Plus, every time the kid's talking about Brigsby Bear, he's literally talking about the dude who abducted him. So I would get why that alone would be very upsetting for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an adjustment period.
Yeah, I get it, but I just didn't like him. Like, I don't know. I just liked James so much that I just wanted him to do his Bear thing. Yeah.
Well, that's true. But I mean, you said you felt bad for Matt Walsh when he didn't want to play basketball with him anymore.
Well, I know, but...
He just feels bad for that one moment.
But now I kind of think, fuck him, he can play basketball by himself. I liked when James picked up dope as shit as an expression and used it liberally. It was fun. When he first decides to make his movie and he opens up his laptop to Google how to make a movie, and you see still in the search bar is how to learn things from my new computer. Which is so good.
Yeah, there's a lot of good search bar jokes that they do. There's a few other ones.
He says, thanks.
Yeah.
How to learn movie stunts. I want to learn, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's also very funny. I like the cut from but a string of him Googling shit for the movie. And the last one is how to make a bomb. And it just cuts to him with bags of fertilizer in his car. And then it literally pays off later with that bomb.
They give him a lot of leeway in this movie. He's arrested like 2 or 3 times.
He's been abducted, Tim. What do you want?
Yeah.
Well, I know, but I get it. But...
3-4 arrests before I start bringing the hammer down. Plus the one time he's arrested, it's just for, I assume, stealing the car. And it's not like his parents are going to press charges for that.
No, that's true. I did really like his scene with her, too, whatever her name is.
The waitress?
Yeah.
I love that scene.
Whitney was, I think, not the actress, but the actress who played the twins in Brigsby Bear.
Yeah. And
that was a very sweet scene, too.
And I liked his little quick... his thing at the end where he just like tells her that she loves him, and he's always loved him. It's just, I don't know, awkward and sweet and innocent and weird at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I thought she did a fantastic job too of playing it like you would if that guy showed up, knowing that you played any part in his abuse would be tough.
Right. I love that. If that guy showed
It is
up.
funny, I agree. It's hilarious.
That particular dude was just like, I loved you for the whole of my life. You played a fictional character that my dad created in his mind. Yeah.
That guy we all don't want to knock down our door.
That guy
hold
that just
on
created
here.
a bomb.
I liked Mark Hamill. I didn't think it was.
Oh my god!
Don't you think it was just so? I don't know. He was so. I liked him.
He was so Mark Hamill.
He was so sympathetic.
No. I disagree 100%. I mean, Mark Hamill is adorable, so I get why you could see him as likable, but he's not sympathetic.
No, I am. He seems like he genuinely cares about James, and he gets really excited when James is bringing up all of these theories. Like, okay, so Mark Hamill has been writing this story with this weird lore behind it, and his son is really enjoying and like coming up with all these fan theories for something that he created.
I agree with Tim.
And I think he plays that really sweet.
I think that's
I think he does play
sweet.
it sweet too. I do think he cares for James 100%, absolutely. I'm not sympathetic towards him.
I also think I'm kind of more sympathetic towards him because at the end of the movie, when he's like telling the backstory of like how they got in possession of James, it wasn't exactly him. It was April who brought him home.
No. If somebody brings a stolen baby to you, and you're like, well, I guess we just have this stolen baby now, you're 100% as guilty as the person who stole it. 100%.
But here's the thing. After the baby got stolen, you didn't let me finish my sentences. After the baby got stolen,
okay.
he cared for him and he loved him. Like, he was more, like, he was nicer to him than the mother was. And I think
we didn't really see the mother interacting with him much, but
the mother was kind
that
of
doesn't make
dick.
up for it, man. That doesn't make up for it in any way at all.
Honestly, him creating an entire show, again, how Tim said, based on this really ridiculous lore and have him really love it, I think that kind of makes up for it.
It really does not. It's absolutely fucking insane that you think he's in any way sympathetic.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought,
I think he's likable. He's likable.
He's, you know what? He was a great dad to James, and you could see like his passion for. You could see that he had a real passion for like doing something, and at the end to see how like James picked up his like filmmaking like passion, right? Like obviously Mark, like he picked up the torch, and I think you could see how Mark Hamill was proud of that.
Yeah.
As like a proud dad.
He was proud. I agree that he was proud.
I'm sympathetic to proud dads, Michael.
But he's not the dad. But that's fucking insane to me because he's not a good dad. Like he did that,
he
and
is a good dad though.
He's a good dad. Okay, he's a good dad. He's a good dad. He locked his son in the basement for 25 years.
To protect him from the outside.
For his own
No,
good.
to protect himself. To protect himself and his wife from going to jail rightfully for being fucking baby kidnappers. Wow.
Think of all of the Brigsby merchandise he would have had to make on the side too.
I'm not saying he didn't work hard on his little fucking bear cartoon. I'm saying
who
that doesn't make him a good dad.
Like sheets? That's amazing.
I did think, you know what, the sheets are very cool, and the action figures. Like, some of the lamps, you could tell they were just, clay in a kiln or whatever. But he must have fucking learned how to mold plastic and shit, because they were, like, Brigsby action figures.
And that's not the qualities of a good dad.
No. No, it's not. Sorry. This isn't. I'd rather get a store-bought toy as long as I have, one, the dad who didn't steal me, and two, be able to go outside occasionally without wearing a gas mask.
But you don't know that exists.
That doesn't make it okay. It's still abuse. Okay, if you tell Cameron, let's say you were teaching him to count to 10, and you purposely left out 6 and 7 as a joke, because you were like, this will be very funny, he'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, and then when he goes to school it's gonna be fucking embarrassing. That's emotional abuse. But he doesn't know that those numbers exist. It doesn't mean you're not abusing him.
You should do that too.
But you're saying it's okay. You're saying it's okay because his plan was that James would never find out. So if you never sent Cameron to school or let him interact with any media with the 6 or 7 in it, then it would be fine. That's fine.
I turn off the tape when the count gets too high.
Yeah.
No!
That's so funny.
He
turns
the 9 upside down.
And it blows its mind. It's like the end of Usual Suspects.
Yeah. Who taught you 6? Who taught you 6?
Who taught you 6?
No, I like Mark Hamill. I thought he was a great actor, and I think his character was.
He's a great dad.
I agree with those points.
Happy Father's Day, Mark Hamill.
He was a great actor, and I loved his character too. I agree with those points.
You brought it up too. The mother. I wish we maybe would have heard more about her. Or,
me too. Yeah.
I mean, she's kind of just the baby snatcher, and she's kind of cold to him at the beginning, and that's kind of all we get. So.
I don't see. I read that differently. I didn't find her cold to James. It looked to me when they were at that dinner table that, like, especially me having known the concept, it looked to me when because it was Mark Hamill and James talking about Brigsby Bear and stuff, and it looked like she was kind of concerned and over. I think it had gone on so long that she was over it.
You know what?
Like, she was worried for him.
I was just gonna say that too. Is that on a second watch, I wonder if I would read that more of like concern and paranoia than like that somebody eventually is gonna come.
Yeah, I think it's more that in that, like, it's, you know, she's worried about what they've done now, which
right.
You know, too little, too late. But you're right. I wish we'd gotten like another scene or something with her. But I guess I don't know where you'd fit it in, because you couldn't have her and Mark Hamill have a conversation before the twist happens, because it would ruin it, right?
Right.
And then if you have him visiting her in prison, it's kind of hat on hat, because the Mark Hamill one's really the only one we need. So yeah, it's just a shame. I wish she got just a little bit more to do, so we could kind of get into her mindset.
I don't want to get into her mindset.
Fucked up mindset.
She snatched a baby.
No, but that's fine, because
How is that
was raised
fine?
by a loving dad.
How is that fine? But he's not a good dad.
He was raised by a loving dad, so it's fine. It doesn't matter, right?
That is true. Yeah.
No, it isn't. Yeah, and I like the actress. I've seen her in other stuff. Jane Addams, I think is her name.
I recognize her, but I couldn't point her at anything.
She's been in a bunch of TV shows and stuff. Oh yeah, I do like the first
Van
therapy
Smith
scene.
I forgot to look up what the Van Smith conjecture was.
Van Smythe,
Yeah.
the Van Smythe.
Yeah.
It turns out it's 6. I assume with his answer at the end. Well, that's the thing too. I mean, obviously the mom was crazy because she kidnapped a baby, but Mark Hamill was fucking crazy too. One, because, you know, he went along with it for 25 years and created Brigsby Bear. 2, it's so funny. Occasionally, like, he'll pop in random shit that it's like, oh, he's fucking cracked too. Like in Brigsby Bear, like he'll be like, when he's doing the video to teach James to exercise regularly, and he's like, sweat is just the poisons leaking out of your brain, or something like that. So yeah, I don't know if the Van Smythe thing is like a real sort of equation or anything, but
the answer is 6. That's
The
what
answer
you
is
need
6.
to know.
yeah, it doesn't seem like a real with that answer. I don't know what the budget for this movie was, but presumably not very much. But it looked really good. Like, visually it looked great. And then all the detail on the actual Brigsby Bear stuff was really good too.
Yeah, like I do like. I brought it up earlier, but I like the whole lore of the Brigsby Bear too. Like, it made the entire thing really rich. That you have all this, you know, the fabric, like the Brigsby Bear sheets and all the stuff in his room. But even like, I don't know, the Sun Snatcher story and the. I mean, obviously they're just making shit up, but I don't know. It made it like it's a real show. Like I could this could have easily just been a Doctor Who ripoff, right?
Yeah, but I like that though, because it does pull from like Doctor Who, and it pulls from kids' cartoons and shit like that.
Teddy Ruxpin.
And I even like
Teddy,
and I even like absolutely, and I even like that when the detective says that he watched an episode and he was like, which one was it? I don't know. He mentions what the episode was like, and then, or was it Spencer mentions it, and then James is like, oh, that one's actually, oh, it's because it taught him to do multiplication or something, and he's like, oh, that one's actually for babies. That's not a good whatever. As a, because they, like you said about Mark Hamill using it to help teach James lessons, it obviously evolved into a more complicated lore too as it got older, where it started out as probably a Barney-like show,
Right.
and then it became more of a like a Doctor Who or something, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, I like all the implied lore. Another thing I forgot to mention when we were talking about the not lack of conflict in a bad way, but lack of forced conflict. I thought for a second when Spencer showed him the clip he uploaded on YouTube that James was going to freak out or something, but then, or there'd be something about that, about like, I don't know. There's something about it. I was like, oh no, is he going to get upset? And then he didn't, and I was glad. But he was, because he was happy that other people were watching this show he loved.
I get that, because it's like, it's sacred. It's so sacred to him, and he let him borrow the tapes that it's kind of just like,
yeah,
oh, you went out, like, you did this yourself.
Without his permission.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to happen, but.
I get that. I think I thought that too, but then I was kind of like, please don't be upset. He's trying to be your friend.
Right.
It was glad it didn't happen.
Yeah, and it was genuinely, like, it sounded like it was getting a few thousand hits of people actually watching it, and they had several clips of people like watching it on the bus and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
So other people were enjoying his thing.
If you think about it as like a real thing, can you imagine if this story existed where you were like, oh, these fucking people kidnapped a kid for 25 years, and which is a crazy story in and of itself, and living in a bunker and shit, and then you find out that not only that's true, but there's 700 and some odd episodes of a fake TV show made specifically for that kid. I'd watch all of these.
Yeah,
I'd watch every fucking episode.
It'd be very, especially with this much like creativity behind it. Like, there's a moon with a weird face on it that like shoots lasers, and there's, I don't know,
twins,
crystals, and fucking twins and shit.
Yeah,
twins.
Yeah, wizards and stuff. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right.
I do like
that would get so many views of just people being interested in what fucked up shit that this guy came up with.
It would be
right?
absolutely 100%. People, there would be, yes, 100%. Like, that's initially how I would start watching it if I found out it was true. I'd be like, what kind of fucking shit did they feed this kid? And then I'd probably get into the Brigsby Bear lore and shit.
It is funny, like, thinking about maybe that's why people are watching it on the bus. They just were scrolling through Facebook and it's like, oh, check out the Abducted Boys TV show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some sort of BuzzFeed article.
Yeah, some aggregate. There's a lot. I didn't really think about it when I was watching it, but it does, for as simple story-wise, not like, you know, the Brigsby Bear lore and all that shit, but it's a fairly simple story about, you know, a dude reconnecting with a family he didn't know he had, and, you know, making friends and whatnot. And but there's also, like, you could probably, if you paid more attention and really delved into it, there's probably a lot there about the cathartic nature of storytelling, the complicated relationships people can have with media and quote unquote intellectual properties and shit like that, and how it can be both healthy and harmful, and probably in a weird fucked up way. You could probably make an article out of it that would get you a lot of hate online about how it's talking about separating the art from the artist. Like, you could be like, Brigsby Bear says we should enjoy Woody Allen movies. Speaking of sympathetic dads, am I right, guys?
That is true. That, like, the three main sort of themes that I got from this, like, thinking about it today, was that, you know, like, acceptance is a big one, like, love of filmmaking, like, it's a love letter to filmmaking. I can see that. And then the third one is like ending chapters, because I mean the whole buildup is him making the finale to a show that never ended, right? Like,
yeah.
And then at the end they kind of have the Brigsby teleporting away of kind of like a on the nose to say, yeah, this is over now. But
ideally, like, I would think, like, the ideal continuation, not that they should or whatever, but what I like to think happened with James is that, you know, he got the Brigsby Bear out of his system, he and Spencer watched a bunch of cool shit that Spencer knows, like, I don't know, all the posters he had on his fucking wall, like The Thing and Tron and whatnot. And then they went and made, like, a totally different new movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's the idea. I hope that happens for James.
Yeah, I think I agree. I tend to think that that's what happened.
And that's the next chapter of the story.
Yeah.
But no, I agree with
Brings
you
me
too,
to.
like, yeah. But what was the first thing you said? Like understanding or acceptance?
Acceptance,
or yeah, like communication and like understanding people and meeting somebody halfway and just understanding where they're coming from is a huge part of it too, and I like that. And I like how various people in the story had bigger issues doing that than others, you know, depending on who they are or how close they were to the subject. Because, like, of course, Spencer and all his friends were able to accept him right away because they were just open people and accepted him. And the parents and Aubrey took a little longer, but also vice versa. Like, James was so complimentary to Spencer's talents and to Greg Kinnear's talents when he told him he could act, and like, and it helped them too. Like, just, you know, caring about other people is such a good regular concept. That scene was funny when Greg Kinnear started doing some shit from The Tempest.
Plus, it's not on a TV, it's on a screen so big, you're going to feel like you're in another world.
Right. No, I know what a movie is, and I think it's really great to be creative. I actually performed in a lot of plays when I was in high school.
No way.
Prospero, The Tempest. I pray thee, mark me, that a brother could be so perfidious. He whom next thyself in all the world loves a... I don't remember the rest of it, but, you know, it's...
That was so good. That was...
I didn't have any time to prepare anything, so it was just... thank you.
No, that was amazing. Do you do theaters?
No, I'm just saying I know what you're trying to do, and I think it's great, James.
Is there anything else we missed that we should talk about? Oh, what did you guys think of Andy Samberg popping up at the end?
Yeah.
kind of distracting, right?
What?
Kind of distracting, right?
Yeah, it was like I don't know, it was needed.
It wasn't really.
I thought it was a nice surprise.
Yeah, and I
And
think
then
that's
I
the
kind
only
of
reason why
wanted
it's
it to
there.
go.
Distracted
No, and
me.
then I wanted it to go away. Like,
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought he was just gonna be in like that one scene where he introduced himself and it like never returned again. But then he started popping up more, and I'm like, oh, you're like here now, huh? You're like here.
Yeah.
It is nice. It is nice to see, not just with like Aubrey's friends or whatever, but James is just pretty good at making friends with people, so he'll be fine. Because Eric, I think, was Andy Samberg's character's name. Mm-hmm. Just kind of like liked him.
Yeah. But I mean, like, how did he get out of the mental institution? Because he was in the movie.
Maybe they did like a day pass, or maybe they brought in a green screen and that disco ball helmet that he wears, and they just
Here's
Did it there?
screened him in. I don't
here's
know.
the thing. I thought he was an imaginary character for like.
You know what? Me too. Me too.
Because like when he started
I did-
doing
you know
like
what?
the thing in the back of the guy when they were like doing the stretches,
Yes.
and when he brought him an ice cream, and I'm just like, this is imaginary character.
And he was
type
so-
bullshit.
He was so over the top in like his dress, even like he was like he was wearing like a jacket in this like was it a leather jacket or like I don't know. He was just
It was
or
weird.
sunglasses.
Like I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
cool, but why are you keep?
Why are you the only
still
one
here?
in here with it? Right.
Insha, when, like you were saying, when they were outside doing the stretches, and he walks up behind him and does stretches, and only like James is looking at him and laughing about it. I got total flashbacks to the Dave episode of Lost, where Hurley has that, and I definitely thought that for a second. I was like, is he? I like James's escape from the hospital. Just that cut to the fucking TV launching through the window. That's another one probably. That's his third strike, Tim. He gets arrested for creating an IED, arrested for stealing a car, and they'll give him his last one, breaking out of the institution, and then those are your 3 credits for being an abducted child.
Right.
Now you gotta fly on the straight and narrow.
My last note is Claire Danes is pretty shit at her job, huh? That's it. That's it. That's going all the way back to the beginning, but like I just did not like her at all.
It was funny when Brigsby, not Brigsby, when James and his dad saw that movie together, that dumb
Mighty Ducks ripoff.
Mighty Ducks ripoff, yeah. And then he's like talking about the plot and whatnot to his mom, and then Claire Danes says something, and he looks over, he's like, "Oh, who's that?" Like it was the first time he noticed the therapist in it.
Is it Hockey High? Hockey High? Is that what the movie was called?
Yeah, it was Hockey High or something like that.
Yeah, I did like all like the Seinfeld sort of fake movie posters in the background for dumb
Yeah,
movies.
I was looking because one of them was like a dog detective or something, and I really wanted that one. But yeah, I think it was Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric was the coach in yeah. Oh, I forget. I've been editing the Oscar special so long, I totally forget what we normally do now.
What we normally do now is cameo.
But now I know you're just a cameo. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Now I know you're just a cameo. Oh, oh, oh.
That was a delayed.
There wasn't that much
delayed reaction.
I did it on purpose. It's not actually a Skype delay. That's that long. So who was it this week?
I hope it was Insha.
Yeah, I think me.
Okay, good.
So I picked, because we had just stopped watching the Rocky movies. I picked Dolph Lundgren.
Oh, nice.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
So on his little thingy, bio thingy, it says actor and boxer, Rocky, and his bio's so cute. Life is there to be enjoyed, with a little pound sign thing, like hand fist thing. I'm like, oh.
A pound sign. I thought you meant a pound sign.
He usually responds in one day. 24-hour delivery is available. He has 144 reviews, all 5 stars, except for one is a 4-star, but it's not too bad. His fan club consists of 959 people.
Ooh,
and
that's a decent
I found this incredible. His related categories are actors, athletes, boxing, featured, movies, cult classics, ask anything, childhood favorites, heartbreakers, for your parents, business, 24-hour delivery.
Ask anything. Like I could get Dolph Lundgren to tell me his darkest, deepest secrets on a cameo.
Most likely.
Is that what I'm paying
You
for?
can ask anything.
Ask anything.
Doesn't mean he'll answer it.
Oh, that's true.
He also has a master's degree in chemical engineering.
So you can ask him that.
Oh, I could ask him a chemical engineering question.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'm sure he'd fucking love that, actually, you know? Like, how often would anyone ever ask that of him?
Also, in the background of some of his cameos, of 4 I'm seeing right now, he has a Creed 2 poster just hanging up. And it's so cute.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
That rules. He is good. I think he's a very good actor, and he seems like a pretty cool guy in real life too. Like he seems like a pretty chill dude.
And I think honestly, like we've talked about this before, but I think he's in the perfect category which cameo is made for. Somebody who isn't doing a lot now, has big name recognition, and people would pay money for him. And like
he does like a couple of straight to video action movies a year. Maybe every 2-3 years he pops up in like an actual Hollywood movie. But he had, like you said, nostalgia, name recognition, the perfect guy to be on cameo for sure.
And he can break your heart according to his related category.
He's a heartbreaker. Yeah, absolutely.
That's right.
And he also has a distinctive look that he still generally looks like, and a distinctive enough voice.
Yes.
That like a cameo would be worth it for that. That's why. I mean, Big Time Tommy was built to make cameos. But it's different. Like, I mean, we've talked about the brothers Hoobastank in that episode. But who the fuck are they? Like, why would I ever want a cameo from them?
Right. So that's why I'm going big on this one. I'm going like $300.
Interesting. See, I was gonna go big too, and I was gonna say $299, but since you said 3, I'll just shoot for the moon and say $3.99.
See, I was thinking maybe lower too, and I bumped it up right at the
Yeah.
end. I was thinking more like $250.
Yeah, I was in the $250 to $300 range, but I settled on $2.99. But now I'll just shoot for the moon and say $3.99.
All right, I'm gonna stick with 300. Is that what I
Okay.
said? 300.
Yeah.
So you both are wrong, but it's right in the middle. It's $3.50.
Okay.
Oh. Fair enough. Can we hear the 4-star review?
Yeah. Oh, God, I gotta scroll past these 5-star reviews.
Oh, excuse me. I dropped all these 5-star reviews on the way to my one 4-star review. Sorry. Did we find that 4-star review?
Yeah.
I'm absolutely cutting all that, by the way.
That's fine.
Totally pointless.
It says,
Could have saved that for after dark.
it says, thanks, doll, for your message, even though it was short. Winky face. Stay safe and happy holidays.
Oh, so you just
Okay, that's fair.
yeah. I think that's a legitimate less star. Like if you wanted like a
Yeah.
a cameo and if it was only like a minute or two, that'd be a little upsetting for $350.
Yeah, if it was shorter than they expected, but they were like, oh, I still liked it, especially for $350. Yeah, absolutely 4 stars. And then hopefully every video he did after that, he kept that into account, because only 5 stars since then. So
My father is working out of his home in the south of France. He has something important to talk to you about regarding Seedco. If you can, email him at Hidden by Cameo and tell Robert how he can reach you privately. Thanks, Mr. What?
Seco? Spell that for me.
SICO. We are trying to contact you for your car's extended warranty. Like, what?
That's really weird. Like,
An Egyptian manufacturer of mobile phones.
you know what? I wonder if you could do that as like what are those people who serve people legal documents? Like
Process servers.
yeah. If you just do that, could you do that on Cameo? Be like,
That would be very
That
funny.
would suck.
where you just pay for somebody to admit that they're who they are,
They are who
and then
they
in
say
your
they are.
review, you'd be like, you have been served, and give them like in your review back.
Oh, this one's cute. Thank you so much for providing us video. Thank you so much for providing us video so fast. You were the best when I was a kid, and you are still the best. P.S. When you were in Kyiv with Expendables promo in 2010, I was shouting Drago like Rocky does in the movie. When I saw you on the street, you and Sly both liked the joke. Oh, that's sweet.
That's good. I hope they actually did both like the joke.
What
Or
sounds-
they just
wow.
laughed at him. Aw.
And also pretty loose use of the word joke.
Well, that's the thing is that like, can you
Shut up,
imagine
your
those
character-
two are there and you said Drago and he's like, yeah, we were in a movie once, yeah, together.
This
Yeah,
is a
also-
different movie.
also, absolutely guaranteed that's not the first time somebody has yelled Drago at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Be like, hey, Stallone, remember that time you were shooting a film in Italy and I yelled Rocky at you? You remember that? I was the first person to make that joke. No one ever thought to call you your character's name before. You're welcome, here's $350. I will say, I think it's fair. I wouldn't maybe pay that much, but I totally get why he charges that much. Because like you said, Tim, it's kind of in the sweet spot of like huge name recognition comparatively. And, he can charge that much and he's got time to do it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think, I think we were thinking around this amount of money. I think it's a little high for the average
It
person
is a little, yeah.
to buy it. He should bump that down to like 200, because he's got the time. He's got the time to do it.
But how many? Well, no, he's gonna fly to Eastern Europe all the time and spend 3 days shooting scenes for a movie called Marked to Death or something that he shows up for and just acts in a room with a hat on, and then he's never in the rest of the movie. It's some nameless fucking third string MMA fighter.
Jesus Christ.
I love those movies so much. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we're both in agreement. He's worth, maybe not worth $350, but it makes sense. I'll say worth it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's worth it too.
Yeah.
He's
Insha.
he's absolutely worth it. Sorry.
I agree. You couldn't have picked the more fitting cameo. Just a seemingly nice guy with a totally nice rate, putting out good cameos. It fits with the Brigsby Bear.
Get all you, like, people who don't need this. Get off a cameo, because this is the Dolph Lundgren's territory. And actors like him.
Yeah, they just switch it to a Dolph Lundgren fan site. People just keep paying. He just buys cameo and kicks everyone else off of it.
What did he buy? Cameo!
Now I know you're just a cameo. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, oh, oh. Now I know you're just a cameo. Oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, that was it. Okay, so film, run, walk, or crawl. I will start. I chose the movie. I was iffy on it when I started watching it, mostly because I had a bad memory. Not a bad memory, but I couldn't quite remember what my feelings were on the movie.
bad memory where my parents stole me and this at home.
Yeah, when I grew up in a fucked up bunker, just watched Barney Doctor Who for my entire life. Which, I mean, not that far off. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun, looked good, fantastic production design, and it kind of hit me really hard in some spots, which I appreciated. Insha.
Film run. It was emotional. It hit all in the right spots, and great dad values from Mark Hamill. Everybody should be a dad like Mark Hamill at some point in their life. Yeah. Just create this awesome world. Create this awesome world for your child.
Lots of people create things without kidnapping children.
And yeah, just a good movie about like accepting people who are different and being kind to people. So yeah, film run, great dad lessons.
Also a good because there are a lot of really good movies about making movies, and I totally forgot that this is that. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Tim.
Yeah, film run for me. I think this is the type of movie that I usually like really enjoy. These indie comedies are right up my alley, and especially ones that just make you feel good for watching it. I don't know. I'm a sucker for them. So definitely a film run for me, because this one is one of the best ones I've seen of that sort of genre. So.
Yeah, I do. I was going to bring it up when you mentioned that in your first impressions. Like, I do like... that indie quirkiness sort of got played out in the 2000s, kind of, where it was copies of copies of copies, and it diluted it, kind of. But I really appreciate it in this one because it isn't over the top, and the quirkiness is played as a sad thing as much as it is like a fun, entertaining thing. There's like some actual pathos behind him dressing up like a bear and going out and making a low budget movie with his friends, instead of it just being like, oh, this is just a thing we're doing because aren't we cool and quirky?
Right. And on that point, I will start with my recommendations. If you want to see Greg Kinnear again, you can watch him in Little Miss Sunshine, another quirky indie film that's funny. Yeah. And if you want to see another movie about making movies again, you can watch Be Kind, Rewind, another indie film that's quirky and shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Good choice. I will recommend Pop Star, Never Stop, Never Stopping, which is also... Oh, because we should mention the movie is...
Produced by...
Yeah, it's written by Kyle Mooney and Kevin Costello, directed by Dave McCary, but produced by the Lonely Island Boys and Lord and Miller of... Lego movie, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
I totally forgot that too. I saw that. I didn't see that until the very end credits that it was Lord and Miller were the producers on it, and I got really excited.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're good.
I love their work.
Also put Ingrid Goes West as another sort of millennial indie film, but that one's more like Millennial Taxi Driver with some great performances. And then my last one would be Blast from the Past, where Brendan Fraser and his father's Christopher Walken, and they hear a plane crash or something, and they go into a fallout shelter under their house, and they live there for like 40 years or something, and then they realize there wasn't a nuclear war. So it's Brendan Fraser having lived in a bunker for all of his life and reacclimating himself to the world. And I think it's Alicia Silverstone's in it too. But
that's true.
Yeah, I like that movie.
Mine are Lemon, Safety Not Guaranteed. This had like weird Come to Daddy vibes in a weird sense to me, so that one. and then we have an episode on it, so listen to that. I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, and The Lobster.
That's a lot of great movies.
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot for a second that it was a movie when you said it had weird Come to Daddy vibes. What are you talking about? So it's classic Insha pick next.
Oh yeah. I couldn't decide if I wanted to piss Tim off or not piss Tim off.
Pissed him off. Pissed him off.
I don't think you could piss me off with your, like, I would never get pissed off at any of your movie choices.
Well, not get pissed off per se. It's just I would ruin your entire weekend.
Oh.
Jesus, now I want to know what that one is. But now I kind of don't want you to pick it. It sounds awful. I'd rather Tim got pissed off than you ruin his weekend.
When do you watch movies, Tim? Like, when do you watch these?
Wednesday nights.
Oh, so I would just ruin your Wednesday night and your Thursday. That's fine. Okay. So my movie is Dead Ringers.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Now, I think he'll be fine. I don't know if he'll like it or not, but I don't think.
Oh, he'll hate it, but
I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like it's too much like female insides.
No, that's not true. That's not really true.
I mean, I've watched What Women Want. I know what ticks on the inside of women.
I know all about the insides of women. Very creepy thing. Creepy thing for anyone to say, really. What Women Want. Arguably, oh, man, you could do... No, maybe I'll save it for after dark. No, I won't. You could do a fucking terrible edit of no, never mind. Don't worry. No, I'll cut it. Don't worry.
Of What Women Want and...
No, it would just be... And the tapes. The tapes of,
Oh.
of Mel Gibson talking.
Oh, no.
So
Anyway.
is it a movie? Hold on. Is it a video where like Mel Gibson is in What Women Want, and instead of the women talking, every once in a while it cuts to Mel Gibson where he's doing those faces where he's listening to people, but it's him saying the thing on the tape?
Yeah,
Or
it
is
doesn't really make sense, but it would have to be the opposite, where it's like
The women say
the
are
women
thinking.
hear his mind, and it's just a tape.
See, okay, there you go. All women hears Mel Gibson's mind, which is just the tapes.
That's
It's
almost more of a Twilight Zone episode, and I can't tell whether it's worse for Mel Gibson or worse for the women.
Right.
I think the women probably.
I wonder if Mel Gibson. Well, he would. I was gonna say maybe he'd be oblivious to it, but somebody would have told him.
Someone would tell him, yeah. Somebody would have to let him know, because it's like, sir, you can't think those words. Oh, great! I can't say them anymore. Now I can't even think them.
How annoying would that be? Like you walk into like a diner and every woman there can hear your thoughts.
Why? What is so wrong with your thoughts in a diner that you wouldn't want every woman to hear them?
My indecision.
real beta cuck mood that I can't decide between soup or salad. I don't want them to know.
When everything just goes your way, feels like you're about to top the world. One minute later, it's all gone. All you got left is turn to dirt. But you know that means nothing at all. Just close your eyes and count to 10. I'll fix the rest, don't mark my words. Oh yeah. Tonight, it's us against the wall. And when you feel just like a coward in the mud about to burst,
Always sweep your corridors, and if you're feeling romantic emotions, only touch your penis twice a day.